Welcome to the editing exercise of Vegas Pro Essentials. We're now going to take everything you've learned so far and put it into practice. Please feel free to follow along using the course materials or your own. We're going to be recreating the first 15 seconds of one of these fitness spots. Now, this fitness spot was scripted, and there is a voiceover recording, which is VO02, and we'll use this as a guide track when editing B-roll as well as talking heads. So to start the edit, I'm just going to take the voiceover clip and drop that into the timeline at the very beginning. What I'll do is I'll just expand the waveform so we can see the waveforms, as well as zoom in using the scroll bar so we can zoom in on the first, I'd say about 16 seconds of the timeline. So I'm just going to put the timeline cursor at that point, and then using the split button, I'm going to split the event in two. With the second part of the event selected, we'll just press delete, and now we only have the first 16 seconds. Looking at the beginning of the shot, there is a bit of silence before the actual clip starts. So I'm going to go ahead and using auto ripple, we're just going to trim off that beginning bit. When I release the cursor, it snaps back to the beginning of the timeline, which is really good with auto ripple. Let's go ahead and have a listen.
If you're running 5 miles a week to get toned, stop.
So that's pretty good. The starting time is great. And now we're going to add B-roll for about half of this and then replace the rest of it with talking heads. So I'll put the positioner back to the beginning of the timeline. And then in the project media, we're going to find our first shot. And that shot is shot 1, take 1. Now with this particular shot, we can either review it by hitting the play button. So we can see there's a camera move as well as the running happening. And we can just trim this down in the timeline because it's not a long shot. So I'll just drag it down and place it on the timeline ruler above the existing tracks. By doing this, when you release the button, it creates a new track. And you can see that we've got a grouped event, which has got video and audio, and they move together. And if the audio becomes a problem, we'll delete it in a minute, but this is just an easy way to edit. Let's find the starting point that we'd like to work with. So you can see that the influencer is starting to run, and then at that point, they're running as well as the camera is established. So to quickly fix this, once again, using auto ripple, I'm going to go ahead and just trim that event down, and it'll snap back to the beginning. So using auto ripple helps me cut 3 or 4 steps down into one. So that's the start of the timeline, and let's just see what we've got.
If you're running 5 miles a week to get toned,
that looks pretty good. And I'd say about this point here, we'd want to go ahead and maybe trim the shot down as well. So I'm just going to trim it down to that point. So that's the first shot down in the timeline. The second shot we want to use is we want to use a gym shot. So I'm going to go ahead and try using, let's go with shot 2, take 3. And in this particular case, I'm going to load this shot into the trimmer. And the reason for doing this is I know that this particular shot is actually multiple takes of a tilt while the influencer is exercising. So we want to find an interesting point where we would like to have the shot come in at. So let's say, for example, halfway up the tilt, when the arms are just in shot still, we'll click at that point. So that just sets an in point at that frame. And the positioner is also placed where I'd like it to start. So to edit this in, I just click the Add to Timeline button, and it'll add that shot in from that point. Let's have a look at the flow. And you look at the video preview.
miles a week to get toned, stop. You are literally running away.
And then it will finish more or less around that point there. That's fine. And we'll also go ahead and trim this back too. So that's the first shot and the second shot edited together. That looks pretty good. And then we'll add a third shot. And this time I want to use a runner again. So we'll go with shot 1, take 2. You could load this into trim if you wanted to be accurate trimming, but I'm just going to drag it in because we're going to do it manually in the timeline. So I'm just looking for the point where the camera establishes itself. So around about this frame, and I will use auto ripple once more to trim the event to start at the right point and then just go back. So let's have a look at the flow of the 3 shots.
If you're running 5 miles a week to get toned, stop. You are literally running away from your goals.
Taking creative license, I've decided that I'd like the gym shot and the second runner shot to be swapped around so that the runners are grouped together, followed by the gym event. So the way I'm going to do this is instead of manually pulling everything apart, I'm just going to switch the editing tool from normal edit tool to the shuffle tool. And this allows you to literally pick up shots and just swap them around just by hovering them over each other. This is very good if you've already assembled an edit and you want to try different styles, different ways of shots cutting together. It's a nice way to swap things around without too much fuss. I'll take this and switch back to the normal edit tool to prevent any further swapping. It's always important to remember to set the right tools, and we'll go ahead and have a look at the flow.
5 miles a week to get toned? Stop. You are literally running away from your goals.
So that looks pretty good to me. The only thing I would say to finish this off will be towards the beginning of the gym shot. I'd actually like it to dissolve in or crossfade in from the runner. So I'll select the gym shot and using the trim cursor, I will overlap the two to create a cross dissolve for about half a second.
To get toned? Stop. You are literally...
And that flows nicely from one shot into the next. The only thing, as I mentioned, that is a issue at the moment is the noise. There is noise coming from this shot. It's a rumble. It's train noise that was above us when we were filming the shoot. So we need to get rid of any of the noise. And the way we do that is by breaking out the audio from the synced group. So go ahead and turn on Ignore Event Grouping. And from that, we can then select just the audio bit of the B-roll and press delete. That will delete all the audio tracks associated with the group, but the video will remain. Just remember to turn off Ignore Event Grouping because we'll be working with synced audio with the talking head, and we want to keep everything in sync as we're editing them together. The next part is to find a point, I'll just trim this back a bit, is to find where we would like to bring in our talking heads. So let's just play what the voiceover says.
This is the skinny fat trap. Excessive cardio combined with dieting.
So this is the skinny fat trap followed by excessive dieting, etc. So we don't need this voiceover because this will be replaced with a talking head. So I'm simply just going to trim this voiceover to end at that point. Looking in the project media, here is shot 3, take 1. And if we play this.
This is the skinny fat trap.
Okay, so that is the correct take that we want to use. And I'm going to take this and drop this into the timeline here. If we have a look at this, you'll notice obviously that there is a bit of a delay before the influencer starts speaking. So what we want to do is we want to find the point where you'd like to start, and I'll use ripple one more time to trim the event to the cursor and then let you just ripple it back, all done in one step. So let's see how the flow works.
You are literally running away from your goals. This is the skinny fat trap.
Perfect. That works quite nicely for us. So now we're going to add in the second shot. So let's just find where she finishes talking, roughly about there. And also I will trim the end of the event to match up with the cursor. The next shot here is shot 3, take 2. And if we play this one.
And action.
Excessive cardio combined with diet.
That is the second line that's following on. And I'll just load this into the trimmer just to be different. And I'll find where the talking starts. So it's more or less as she's about to take a breath. So at that point there, I'll click down and I'll drag out the area of the timeline that we want to keep. So that's the area of the source. And then as before, I can just click and drag this directly to the timeline to add in another grouped event with its synced audio. So let's see how these two flow together.
This is the skinny fat trap. Excessive cardio.
So it sounds about right. If you don't see the video, make sure you switch to the video preview just to be sure.
The skinny fat trap. Excessive.
Okay, there is a little bit of a noise going on there, so we're going to trim it down to about this point. So once again, auto ripple on. I'll just trim down the head of the first event. There it goes. And now let's play the result.
The skinny fat trap. Excessive cardio combined with dieting makes you...
That sounds much better. And in terms of pace,
this is the skinny fat trap. Excessive cardio.
That seems to work for me as well. So that's how we would go about editing the first 15 seconds together. We may want to tidy up the timeline just a little bit. We'll make sure that auto ripples off, and I'll just move the voiceover to the same track as the in-camera so we can do a mix on all the talking. And if we don't need the empty track, we can just press delete to get rid of it. And just as one final last check, I will play the entire shot down to see how the flow of the edit works.
If you're running 5 miles a week to get toned, stop. You are literally running away from your goals. This is the skinny fat trap. Excessive cardio combined with dieting makes you a smaller version of yourself, not a tighter one.
In the next video, you'll learn about an event concept that is unique to Vegas Pro as an editor and how to work with it in the timeline. See you shortly.